As a child I always drew, and then when I went to school I started making little figures in the clay room and just carried on really. I do a huge amount of drawing and it gives me the confidence to be able to make the sculpture. At some point a character will appear in the clay and you develop a strong relationship with that character. The process is the same making a big sculpture or an absolutely minute sculpture. I don't start from the head and work down to the toes or the other way around. I dart around all over the sculpture. You just sort of shove the clay on until you like the look of it. The clay is the first bit and then it goes on this massive journey. Either myself or the foundry will make a mould and then that will be used to make a wax. I always go up to the foundry to check the wax before the ceramic shell goes on. The ceramic shell is then heated to a really high temperature and all the wax melts out. I think that's why it's called the lost wax process. Bronze casting is an incredibly long process and part of that process, part of that magic, starts to come alive when you chip off the ceramic shell. It is still magical seeing change from the wet clay to the solid bronze that will be around forever. On some of the smaller pieces, I do kind of like to work on them a little bit. I think it's about spending time with the pieces again. You need to just make sure they're the same as when you left them all that time ago. Because my work is quite often about nature, I do like it when it sits back within its landscape. People will quite often say, "Oh, they're so peaceful." And I think the energy within the sculpture has got a lot to do with that. In the same way that the bronze casting is a massive part of the story and my input actually is quite short, it's the same with the life of a sculpture. I have the first conversation, but then it goes out into the world and people get inspired. They have their own story. They have their own ideas of what the sculpture is, and to me that's really important.